and welcome to this sound journey meditation with monochord, voice and overtone singing.
Welcome to another presentation of the Sound Healing Conference. We now have Nestor Kornblum and Michele Averard. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, David.
Yes.
We're very happy to be here. Well, I am.
I am also.
As couples, we do sometimes talk for each other.
I love speaking with you guys. So Nestor and Michele are founders and directors of the International Association of Sound Therapy, which they co-founded in 1998, a dynamic husband and wife team. They are sound therapists, authors, teachers of sound therapy, course facilitators, and musicians. Michelle's an accomplished singer-songwriter and the author of Free Your Voice, Heal Your Life with CD, and Nestor is author of Overtone Chant, The Practical Guide. Welcome, welcome. What have you guys been up to lately?
Oh my God. Do you want to, you start, and I'll fill in.
Well, it's been a very, very busy year. It's been a wonderful year. We've had sound healer trainings in Bali, in Belgium. We've had activities in South Africa, and our usual program of sound healer trainings here at our Dome Center in Spain. So it's been a jam-packed year. Also, the release of all our online trainings, which the pandemic gave us a little bit of a kick in the rear, because for many years we had to operated under the belief that sound healing is best taught live in person. And we had actually avoided going into the digital world because of the sound and the energy work, how much that would transmit. However, the pandemic came along and said, okay, you're stuck for a couple of years. So we used that time to convert all our teachings into online formats. So that's also finally been released this year and very recently.
Absolutely. I think it's actually, we should say hello and thank you for inviting us. That's the first thing we should really say. And then afterwards, at the moment, we're right here with you. So we're very happy to be here and to contribute to this amazing conference that you manage to achieve every year with all of your achievements too. So actually, yes, during the pandemic, we completely converted the dome, our beautiful dome, which is the place where we host all our trainings and other things as well. Unfortunately, we're not there tonight because somebody else, a dear friend, a Russian friend of ours, has a voice group going on there. So we're here in our home. This is our home up in the mountains. So I just wanted to say that
yes, Russians do sound healing too.
Of course. Actually, they're not Russians, they're Ukrainians.
They are Ukrainian Russians.
Yeah. Ukrainian Russians. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that, yes, during that very interesting time, we actually converted the whole dome into a studio. And we had little scenarios like in different places. And we spent a lot of time in there. Recording, but also creating as well. So we've been up to so many things. Usually I think the people that know us and the team we have in the dome actually cannot believe the amount of things that we get up to. But it's our life, it's our life and we love it. That's sound is our life.
You're not bored, huh?
No.
No.
I have to say, so do you guys know Kevin James?
Yes, we do.
He was a neighbor of ours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been to visit us at the Dome. We got on well, and he's a lovely guy. He's also been in Bali around about similar times to us, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I met him in Bali. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the big question, and that is, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do to help people on the planet?
You go first.
Oof. I've always operated, this is perhaps a roundabout answer, but I've always operated under the principle that it's far better to teach a man to fish than to just give him a fish. So I believe that I would spend that money on educational programs, and particularly for children, which are the coming generations. I've always thought it's almost unbelievable how little attention is paid to sound, to energy, to mindfulness, in schools for children. And so I would like to set up, say, a worldwide program that could maybe run parallel to traditional education, and allow young people, to discover, and their parents, of course, the wonderful therapeutic benefits of sound, because it can unite people, change consciousness, raise frequencies and awareness, help social behavior, and overcome all sorts of emotional traumas. So that's my idea.
Nice. We got $100,000 grant to take our entire curriculum into 2 Montessori schools and have created over 2,500 exercises, and now are getting massive grants to create schools throughout the world.
Wow.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
That's amazing. Yes, I've been
Yeah.
reading that in some of your newsletters. That's excellent, David.
You know,
Congratulations.
it's interesting when you're saying that, it's like we could give everybody massive fish. Right? Right? So at least nobody's hungry, and nobody's starving and are struggling for
He's saying what I was going to say. You haven't asked me yet.
right. But what you said is, once everybody has fish and is not starving, there's still emotional and mental issues, and to be able to deal with life. And there's nothing better than sound and vibration to get you to a place of peace and stillness, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I think what you said is really, I also see it as one of the most important things to change our educational system, so kids are not only at peace but connected to nature. Right?
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Okay.
So you're going to ask me the same question
or
another one?
Go.
Okay. So basically, he said what I was going to say.
Oh.
Yes, he did.
C'est la vie, chérie.
And then you went on to say the same thing, say what I was going to say too. So, I say a lot. So between the two of you, I totally agree. But I would say I would love to be able to help people to at least once a year. I mean, apart from all the beautiful sound work that they would be given the possibility of enjoying and incorporating in their life to find peace, it's also and to be empowered in that way. It would be lovely that people could be taken out of survival mode in countries where people are just surviving to find water and to find food, just out of that survival mode, and be able to have time for themselves, quality time to connect again through the arts. Because not everybody wants to sing or wants to be involved in that way, then maybe through painting, through dance, through another expression of creativity. Because I believe that creativity is the reconnection back to spirit. We come from spirit, we go to spirit. Here we're humans, and we find our link back towards remembering ourselves as spirit through art, through all forms of creativity. And so being able to help someone who is in a survival pattern in their life, be it they're looking for water or they're just trying to make their bills meet by the end of the month, and are just stressed out, terribly financially stressed out, that they can't afford to give themselves that beautiful time and reconnection with themselves through art. I would like to do that. I would do that. But I would do what you guys said as well.
I love it. It makes, I want to talk about creativity for a second, because it's been on my mind lately. Because I think it is one, and for the kids as well, and for everybody, to be able to be more creative. And it's a tricky thing to teach. So how would you teach? I've got some ideas, but how might you teach creativity?
Mm. I think it's about reconnecting, helping people to reconnect to their source so that they can ignite or remember their natural creativity. I believe we all have been disempowered from that creativity. And I believe, as Nestor always says, through sound, we have the possibility again to feel that we are part of everything and that we are creating. So I believe that helping people to reconnect back to their source, to themselves, to their vibration. I believe that creativity is there. Most people are very scared about creating. They need to just follow the norm. I believe the world is divided between intellect and creation and creativity. And so that's what I would do. What would you do?
I think we all have creativity within us. All of us have skills and have talents and gifts. Mostly, we are not given the opportunity to find those, particularly. And I'm a perfect example of someone who attended in his very early years a Steiner Waldorf school, a Rudolf Steiner school education, and then was thrown into the government school system. And I can assure you that the two systems were very, very different. And I think one connects with creativity through play, music. Even if people don't believe they can sing, music provokes an environment where things are lighter and less serious. And so once people are playing, they become willing to experiment. And if you give them the right tools, then I believe that will encourage play, and music will encourage creativity, whether it's art, dance, or any other kind of creativity.
But also intellectual creativity is there as well. And that is, people who are just thinking of different things all the time to be creative, that they can create. So create doesn't necessarily have to be a strictly dance, art,
ideas,
or
literature.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. I was thinking just the same thing. There's kind of getting to a place of peace and back to yourself and source, and where there's a connection to spirit, which has ultimate creativity. But then there's also the mental aspect where you can actually learn all of the structure of all, like, so if you learn the basis of sacred geometry and learn all the geometries in the universe, then you can put them together in unique ways where you got the whole perspective to pull from. Or you've got like all the different sounds you can make. Then you got the full perspective and you can go crazy. But there's the other thing that you guys are the specialists at, and that is not being afraid to make sound. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that are scared to death to make sound, right? And it's just first just to say there are no rules. You can do anything. You can't do it wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Get it out. Let's flow. Get it flowing again. So we can actually have that, stop that blockage from one or two when they went, shh.
Yeah,
and of course, this is a very central theme to Michele's book, Free Your Voice, Heal Your Life. But I just wanted to say, before I turn it over to her, that I'm a living example of someone who suffered from terrible stage fright until literally I learned to sing overtones, David, and I was asked at the age of 30 to stand up on stage and demonstrate for the very first time in public.
I asked you.
My overtone singing. Yes, I was asked by Michele, who had been asked to form a casual choir to demonstrate some of her sacred chants and sacred chants from around the world. This is way back in the mid-90s,
Oh my goodness.
for those of you that remember that far back.
Mm.
So, and I had suffered from terrible stage fright all my life. Yet I was motivated to do that because of something I felt passionate and joyful about.
Mhm.
Nevertheless, my knees were knocking together. But once I got through the first one, it became easier. So, and this is what Michele helps people do.
I also think you do always have that little nervous moment before ever he goes onto stage. He has that little nervous moment. Oh, it's a secret. I shouldn't say it maybe, but he does, you know. And I think it's also healthy.
It's healthy.
In a way, you know, to do that, because if you think, oh, I can do this, this is easy, blah blah, you know, then it's kind of like healthy to.
It's not arrogance or conceit.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Okay, well, so I just wanted to take that up with the shushing there, because that's my pet subject, David. I mean, it really is. And I also want to say that, you know what, all that you've said before about what you would do if you had all that money, well, we don't all have that money, and I don't think you have all that money, but we're actually doing it, aren't we? We are doing it, though. That's what we're doing. We're igniting that light for so many people that believe they cannot. And that for me is the greatest joy ever, you know. And if they come out of the training and they never want to be a sound therapist in their life, but that they go and write a book, or they go and remember that time, or they go and sit in the garden and start talking to trees, for example. I mean, that is beautiful. That is wonderful. So I don't think we need all that money. I think we should just carry on doing what we're doing.
Nice.
And then going back to the shushing, well, I didn't have his education. I had a much freer education. My parents were performers. They were on stage. I was basically born on stage. So, but I also had the same reaction very often, because I also had maybe too much of the performing and not allowing to really be me and be real and be honest. It took me many years to get to have that honest sound. So sometimes the polarity of people that are scared and cannot, the polarity of that is the people that have been forced or have been stylized in some way to express themselselves, that also have a journey to get back to that middle point, that balance of just sounding, of just really feeling that their sound matters. I know this is an American slogan, right? You know, you matter, but your sound matters.
Yeah.
Your sound matters. And don't copyright me.
That's a good slogan. Your sound matters.
It's just, I've just been channeling Michele now in this moment. My sound matters. Your sound matters. Our sound matters, you know, and it's all about that. So really, it's a huge subject, as you well know. It's all about believing in yourself, stepping up into yourself. But before you can do that, obviously, you have to do the whole ho'oponopono on yourself, you know, and that is really looking at your shadow side, understanding it, forgiving it, and then putting it in a place where you can handle it. Because really, who is completely healed of anything? That whole idea of being completely healed, you know, completely healed. No, we put it in a place that we can handle it. And then at the end of our life, well, we pop into maybe another level of the video game, you know, and maybe it'll come up again, or the Matrix, you know. But definitely you have to embrace that inner child and do all of that work before you can feel comfortable with that, you know, with yourself. But to be aware of the shut-ups, you know, I call them the shut-ups. The shut-ups start when you're very young, and it usually starts from the word no, when you've learned that no word, because before that, everything about your sound has been celebrated, unless, you know, you've got violent parents, of course, and you're screaming in the middle of the night. But actually, everything has been held in a place of love. And then suddenly you learn the word no. And you know what children are like when they hear no? that word, and they feel that there's an energy behind there. When they look around, they go, no, 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 but they don't really mean it. They just love the reaction that it creates.
Yeah.
But very soon after that reaction, you're going to get a smack. Well, in my days, you got a smack. Or these days you don't get a smack, you get taken to the psychologist, but whatever. but or you get
put on Ritalin.
Yes, well, yes, absolutely. But whatever you do, it's going to be a shut up, and those shut ups come at you from outside, and they're heavy, nasty vibration that gets stuck on your throat chakra, of course. And so how the hell can you express yourself when you've got this scarf flowing on here, and we are waking up all our wonderful chakras and doing all kinds of things wonderful, the first chakra, second chakra, third chakra. We get to the heart and we sit in those beautiful circles of mantra or toning or sound journeys, sound baths, whatever, and we think, oh, this is the bliss. And then we do a quantum leap. We go straight to the third eye chakra. And we want to be therapists. We want to do courses. We want to open a center. We want to heal the world.
Heal the world.
That's it, And then the problems continue. The problems continue, and that's because we are not addressing this chakra here, this whole energy here, our voice, our expression. So that's my spiel.
And a lot of Michele's work really in the trainings is giving the people both the space and the permission to bring out their authentic sound without fear of reprisal or shut-ups. It's allowing them, giving them the space to hold that as that safe container.
Nice. The way I put it at the beginning of all my classes, I say, we have a really strict rule. You can never, ever do it wrong. You can't be out of pitch. You can't ever do it in any way wrong. But okay, so I'm a special case here. And see, I want to tell you my situation and see what you think. Maybe you can help me here. Okay, so I've done my inner child work. I'm able to express myself really well, right? I mean, in fact, I'm really quite free with my voice until I have to sing exactly in pitch. So there's that fear I'll be out of pitch. Now, what's been happening, especially in the last couple of years, is know that if I just go into the zone and don't even think about it, my voice goes into pitch automatically. And I'm like, whoop, and it's like, it's perfect, right? But still, occasionally that comes in. And here's a second problem. When I was 1, I drank a bottle of mercurochrome, which is the red stuff used to put on wounds, which is mercury. And I had my stomach pump. So I've been shaky my whole life, right? And so I've got this, if that fear comes in, especially if I'm playing guitar, I'll start shaking and I can't continue playing. But as far as the voice, I mean, I can do sound till the end, and really creative and very, very beautiful. I'll tell you one other problem I have. Don't tell anybody. I know we're recording, but don't tell anybody. Okay. And this is a really unusual problem for a sound healer. Okay. I've got a part where my brain can't remember melodies. A karaoke bar is my worst nightmare.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But I've got, I can do melodies, and I've got like 20 or 100 CDs I've put out, right? But I can't remember any songs. I can remember Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but so there's a few things there that are a bit of a blockage, but I've experienced where I've totally started singing, especially now with a handpan, with a rav drum. It's opened up my voice drastically, where I'm not afraid to sing as much. What
Yeah.
do you think? What would you tell me?
Sorry.
No,
Can
you
I
go
take
ahead,
this?
Dan. You go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you
Sure.
for exposing yourself like that. And secondly, it must have been really a traumatic shock for you to drink that stuff. I mean, you must have that deep buried in your memory and your stomach pumped at that age. So, as you say, you've done all your little boy work and all of that, but still, the memory of it is there, isn't it? And and I feel sorry. I'm really, it's a terrible experience that you suffered. I think that finding first of all, I want to congratulate you also, because never remembering a melody is actually wonderful in many ways, because you're always in the now, and that's beautiful. And that is the place where we all want to be. All of us want to be in the now, So when you're sounding, you're always in the now, because you don't have any programming on any of your melodies or anything like that. And you're lucky because you've got a studio and, you've recorded what you say, 100 CDs, and so you've got it all recorded anyway, so you can listen back, so it probably doesn't bother you that much. But I have
I've
to say
got
that,
as well.
yeah. Yes, yes. So, but the thing is that David, I don't know. I think Nestor and I were just very lucky that from the very beginning of our trajectory with this world of sound, when we joined forces and we started to sing together, was that we never looked towards, what you're sitting next to, which is a piano. We never looked towards like the usual instruments. We looked towards instruments like the Rav, like the pan, like something that is more spatial.
Just a monochord.
But we only had monochords in those days. Even the tampura, we spent the first time we got our tampura was from Ricky Ram in India.
Ricky Ram
in India. And we sat in the living room and we spent 4 hours just listening to dum, 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 and going over and over again. And we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is like, whoa. And we were like transposed in that beautiful sound wave of a very small, tiny little tampura, and it was so beautiful. Now, I had come from being a singer, a rock, funk, whatever, my story on stage and being a singer. And it was always verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and out, with a solo thrown in the middle.
With a guitar.
With a guitar, with a bass player, with a drum kit, with the piano or the keyboards or whatever. And so that kind of music and those songs, and I am a songwriter, so I carry on writing songs like that on my guitar. But the other world of our beautiful sound instruments that we have, the monochord, the monolina, all the beautiful sound world instruments that are coming out now to really give people that possibility of a freer expression. So they invite you to sound with it. They invite you to journey along. Those instruments, I would say everyone needs one of those instruments. That's another thing I would do with the money. I would give everyone a monochord as well.
A drone instrument, yeah, a drone instrument. But, of course, I do identify with that also, David, because when I met Michele, she told me that I sang off key quite frequently. But when I was alone in the shower singing a Beatles song, for example, that I knew inside out from my adolescent years, I could hit every note perfectly and even hit the notes for the guitar solo, with a, da da da, whatever. And it occurred to me that the main reason I was singing out of tune was fear. It was the fear of being a non-musician. The first 30 years of my life, I classified even in my own head as a non-musician. Even today, almost 30 years later, if someone says, oh, so you're a musician, I'll say, no, I'm a sound therapist. And then I think, oh, well, yeah, damn, I'm a musician. We've got 15 CDs out there, So yes, I am a musician, but not in any traditional sense, because I'm creating music with the overtones, with the drone instrument, particularly not really harnessing my singing voice, the melodies of the singing voice, not so much. In fact, it's more recently I've been singing a little more, and singing along with songs that before I would say, oh no, I'm the overtone singer, I'll come in there.
And you know how to tune.
And I'll do the instrument. And so yeah, as a result, I'm feeling more confident, and I'm no longer out of tune. So
that's right.
It's funny because
the only way to do it is to do it.
Totally. As a recording engineer, I can hear pitch, and I know when I'm out of tune. It's completely right. Yeah, I think that's what you said, is really doing it over and over and just singing all the time. Then it just naturally resolves itself. I mean, then I had a relationship once, and she sang all the time, so she got me singing all the time, and within a year I was like, had no trouble singing. It was really, really cool. Really cool. Okay, but
women do that. Women do that.
Yeah.
They get into sing,
Well, then there's the whole other level of bringing an energy to what you're doing, right? And you guys are the masters at this. Tell us about how you really instill energy and tension, the full perspective of that. That's kind of what you wanted to talk about here.
Yes,
we do. You want to talk about
because we were both very interested in energy when we met one another, and in fact we had quite an unusual thing. We had a joint chakra reading from a woman who offered individual energy readings and couples energy readings. And this had quite an impact on us because it was extremely insightful. We'd only just recently met, but we were both very interested in what she saw and how she saw it, and subtle energy. So when we began to work together with sound, we at the same time discovered a local woman who had a whole system of energy management as such. In other words, a system like everyone knows about, well, not everyone, because we haven't heard a lot about her recently, but Barbara Ann Brennan, for example, became very well known at one point for her book on clairvoyance and developing your own natural clairvoyance, which she called Hands of Light, was her book, I believe.
Healing Hands or something.
And so anyway, we attended a course where we were trained to enhance, empower through a series of exercises and mental visualizations to harness the power of our own natural sensitivity to energy, which you can call or not a clairvoyance. And because this really enabled us to begin receiving feedback from other people. However, the most important aspect of this training was to allow an individual to take charge of the cosmic energy, the earth energy, two sources of universal energy, but with different qualities and flavors and textures to them. Like yin and yang, cosmic energy, earth energy, these flow through us all the time, but it was taking conscious control of those energies and flowing them through certain channels in the body, which became like a meditation, but also a very powerful mental tool. And like all mental tools, with practice, it becomes real. It takes effect. Just like some people may have known the silver method, long ago known as silver mind control method. But of course, the word mind control in the 21st century doesn't sound great. But the whole purpose was for people to be able to decide on the extent of their energy field, to ground themselves, to connect with the earth, to establish a kind of a protective barrier around themselves, but not a barrier to all energies, a barrier to external energies that are not helpful or that belong to other people. And so we teach all our students this visualization technique, which goes together with, a lot of other information and practical exercises. The main objective is for them to be in a state of complete objectivity, so that there is no projection of their own issues onto the client. So being in a state of groundedness and objectivity, knowing that you are protected and that you are also able to protect the healing space where you and your client, say in a sound healing session, may be together.
So give us a short version of the protection. How because I've got different ways I do protection, and I can tell you actually the main thing I do is I say, okay, we set sacred space now. I go to the home note on now, by the way. We set sacred space now, right? And then I say, we ask for help from our guides and the 4 A's: archangels, ascended masters, ancestors, and positive aliens. And then the most important, only for our highest good.
Yeah.
And then I've got some higher beings that show up at then.
That is a wonderful technique, and you're using the power of intention and sound, and that's great. But what we're talking about is taking control of subtle energy, of your subtle energy fields, your chakras, and not leaving it in the hands of higher beings or guides. In other words, taking this is a very direct method of establishing it yourself. So you are the person in charge of your own field. Once that is in place, then you can contact your guides, or call the ascended masters or whomever beings or deities or energies you work with.
So you're talking what I would call running energy, being able to run.
Absolutely.
Which
it's running energy.
I can give
flowing energy.
Years ago, a psychic said that universal love comes in through the thymus down into the heart. And so I visualized that for 7 years before finally I got good where I could actually run that energy automatically. So it was visualizing it, it was faking it till I finally got it, right? And
that's it. Fake it till you make it.
I mean, running energy, most people don't know how to do that. I remember years ago, one of my instructors said, you know how to run energy, Dave? No. It's like, so it took many years.
Quite frankly, people don't even know who they are, David. And so how are they then going, because they've been taken away from themselves? We knew it when we were young, but then afterwards we lost it. And now, coming back to yourself is really the work of sound. So how are they going to really know about running energy when it's not even, we're not even educated in that way at school? All these things, we should actually empower children and, well, especially teenagers, to be able to harness their vital energy, like Nestor said, sources from the earth, from the cosmos, so that they can bring balance into their body. And this will help them to reconnect with their source. So our way of running energy is really the reason, and the reason behind it is that the faster you run your energy, like a fan, like the old-fashioned fans with the spokes, and they're going round and round and round, and you think that and if yours is not going fast, a ventilator, if your ventilator isn't spinning fast, then all these negative energies that are coming from outside will get stuck on it and go running and go jumping on it, and will have a ride. They'll have a, what do they call it, a funfair ride on you. But if you are spinning fast enough, running your energy fast, then all intruders that are not for you will fly off, like flies do. when they come to the air.
They will bounce off.
They will bounce off.
So we have a system of running energy which we did not invent ourselves. We learned this, and it is taught in some energy schools. I believe there's one not that in Berkeley in California, at least there used to be once upon a time. It's a system of running energy through channels and down your central core into the earth from the cosmos, and up and through and out the head from the earth. And we don't need to go into the absolute specifics now, but it's a very powerful technique that is quite life-changing, in the sense that once you practice it regularly for a while and make it more and more real each time, you truly begin to feel that sense of that you're protected, you're in a safe container. And that ability takes away the ability of anyone who knows you from manipulating you or reflecting your energy. And it stops the therapist from reflecting their energy, mirroring their energy onto the client or projecting onto the client. So it helps you to remain neutral, I think is the very best word. So that you can read and receive more energy in a sound healing session from the client, which helps diagnose.
Yeah,
obviously.
I think it's really about that, about keeping your energy, learning how to, knowing, first of all, connecting with your energy, knowing that it exists, working with it, learning to work with it, making it real for yourself, which becomes very real after practice. And knowing that you are creating that safe container, that safe space around yourself, not because you're afraid, but because exactly what you said, then you can open your heart more, but in a safe way, and you can bring down Archangel Michael, Gabriel, the whole lot, the whole bunch, whatever you wish, but not the nasty ones. You don't want the nasty ones, only the good ones. And you can bring them in and then work safely behind your voice, behind your bowl, behind your gong, behind your didge, whatever you're going to express with whatever medicine, sound medicine you have a connection with, but you're going to do it in a safe way. And there's too many people out there, David, that are not doing it in a safe way.
Nice. So there's a few things that I'd like to add to this as far as who we are. And this is some of the ways that I think of it is number one is we are a stable, consistent vibration. And that could be, different people think of it differently. You can think of it as your soul, which I see never, ever wobbles. I think your soul is perfect. It's perfectly still, just looking at you going, what the hell are you doing now to bring us away from source, right? Right? It never wobbles, right? Or we are a point of awareness, which is the witness, which is that camera that also never, ever wobbles. It's perfectly still, that camera. The witness is perfect. It has no emotions. It's perfectly still, the witness, right? Or some people say, we are universal love, right? Which is really stable and flowing also. And so identifying with things that are stable as opposed to, I'm an emotional mess, blah, 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 right? Or I've got these problems, or I've got these issues, or I've got this past, I've got this. That's not what you are, who you are. You're a stable, consistent vibration that is perfectly still. And then when you can also find your metabolism note, which we do, where you actually find the note or frequency, or both, that is the average of your heart rate and brainwave rate where you're at peace. It's where you are perfectly still. And so,
the still
point.
The still point. Still point.
Yeah. So that's I love this because it's good to really. So what you're saying is to start with to center yourself, and then call in the higher beings.
Well, yes. First of all, you have to put your safety belt on. Yes, before you put your kid's safety belt on.
I love
Isn't
it.
that right? On the airplane, no?
Yeah.
But
Before you get your self-drive
yeah,
Tesla.
yeah. But the thing is, I think that this anyway. The reason that we started this about the energy was because we felt very ungrounded very often when we were sounding, and we realized that actually the more grounded you are, the higher you can fly, but in a safe way. And there is a difference. There is a big difference from going out there and going, oh, the world is beautiful, I can do no harm behind my crystal ball, to actually going for a journey, but going for a safe journey, because you are well grounded and that you're going to come home afterwards. And you're also going to help people to come home, because we've all pacted to be here as humans. We are spirit. There is no, don't waste your time looking for spirit. We are spirit. Just be human. But we can go for wonderful, wonderful trips as humans without having to take any drugs at all, just using sound. And we all know this as sound people. And so we can do that. And we love to do that because it reminds us again of the we are one, the soul, the still point, all of the things that you have mentioned thus. But we have to do this in a safe way. And so when we met this woman and she shared with us her gifts. 4 years we worked with her, 4 years. And every week we
3 hours
and
every Friday.
In the beginning, there was a lot of people. In the end, there was just
4 of us.
Just 4 of us. And I had to read this one constantly, energy reading the chakras.
Oh, this one, she means me.
Yeah, reading him. And maybe we just come from having a little fight in the car on the way there, but you had to put all of that aside, It was the most wonderful and gracious training to really be able to offer a safe healing, a safe place or safe environment for someone to be able to take the healing in themselves, because we never heal anybody. They do it themselves, as you know. But the important thing is that there is not just for the sound world. It's not just for it's not just for the therapy world. It's for relationships. It's for the relationship with yourself. It's for the relationship between you. We've been 30 years together. We tend to go a little bit longer, don't we, darling?
Well, yeah. I'm counting down.
It's to do with when you go home and you meet your parents again, and you don't become that 4-year-old kid just from something that your mother has just thrown at you in the kitchen, and you're a 50-year-old man or a 63-year-old woman like me,
So,
and it's about that.
It will take away the triggers, David. In other words, people will not be able to trigger you, neither your family nor your clients, and nor will you take on or absorb into your system the stuff that you are helping liberate from your clients, the traumas and the emotions that they are releasing. And sadly, as Michele just touched on briefly earlier, there are many healing modalities and many, many sound healers out there who are not applying any kind of energy work or protection as part of their work. And while I'm not going to say anything about that or judge it in any way, we felt particularly that we wanted to have something like that in our system. We don't even teach the sound work until we've first shared the basic energy work, so that people, and they absorb the information better, they are more grounded, they get on with each other better, they are more neutral, they don't trigger each other as much. And we know that the more they practice this, the safer they will be.
It's interesting. I'm 75% done with a book on relationships based on sound, and 95% of the book is not about the relationship. It's about being whole on your own, which is
yes,
I hear
absolutely.
you saying. Really, really.
It is.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really, what I do, there's a few things. I mean, I know my own note. I know my own rhythm. So I'm able to go there, and I will connect to earth and gravity by feeling gravity at the base of my spine. But the other thing is that I found that's really helpful is I've gone to a place of peace so many times, like the end of the slow fade, right? And I've gone to that stillness so many times, I know where I'm going. And I'm able
Mm.
to hold that energy because I know I might get high, I might go, woo, right? But I know where I'm going. I'm going to that still point, right? So those are kind of the ways that I do it. Any other thoughts on grounding, how you ground?
Well,
We would just like to encourage all people, but particularly therapists, to find a system of protection that perhaps, just a suggestion, perhaps doesn't involve visualizing platinum gold balls around you that don't allow any energy in, or any exchange of energy. The symbols we use, and not appropriate to share them right this moment, but the symbol we use creates more a permeable membrane. So it allows an exchange of energies and communication without anyone else's energy coming into yours and influencing it in any way. Mm-hmm. And also keeping your own energy inside so that you don't leak. Most of us leak. If we were to visualize ourselves as energy beings, like they do in science fiction films with colored light, basically shaped like a human body, then we would be leaking energy all over the show. You go to the supermarket, you see an attractive person, and suddenly, whoo, there's a big, a big pseudopodium that goes over. Just an example, you see something that attracts your attention or distracts you, and then suddenly you're no longer fully occupying the physical space where you are located. Suddenly your mind, your attention, your energy is somewhere else. So this is very powerful exercise also for spacing, for being fully present in and mindful in the space that you occupy.
Absolutely. And the wonderful thing about it is that because we kind of like integrated this beautiful work that we learned that really was like, wow, this is a savior in my life, and this is going to be fantastic for our relationship because we're both tremendously big personalities. And to actually be able to be together, and to survive 30 years, David, 30 years together. You're coughing.
Nobody knows it. Nobody's more surprised than we are.
Actually, I'm in shock. We're coming up now in November, in December, to 30 years. Oh my God.
3 decades.
And it's like, and to be able to do this and to continue doing this, and we hope we will, then it has been a vital tool. And at the very same time, the very same moment, we were excited about that 4-stringed tempura and going crazy with it. And I had been in a very dark place as a like a usual and normal singer-songwriter, and I had to find another way of expressing myself, which I did, which is another story, which we won't talk about now. But anyway, bringing those two beautiful things together was like, wow, that's amazing, because I frankly got quite bored when I was visualizing. I'm a very active person, and so I do it with sound. And when you are sounding, when you are actually using your sound, your toning and you direct it towards or a chakra or a biofield or a physical part of your body, but let's say something that we can't see, that is working in the invisible, the world of invisible, it brings it to life. Sound brings it to life. I always say it's like putting a paintbrush in your mouth, and you're dipping it in like the red or the blue or the green or the yellow. And when you sound out, you are actually bringing that shape that you can't see so readily, into life. Or it's like a bat. You know how bats maneuver their space through sonar, their spatial environment. They throw out their vibration, and so they can measure, oh, that's a wall, I'm not going to bump into that wall. And so again, you're bringing out the sound with intention, but you have to have a very strong intention. You have to know how to harness your intention. So that's a lot of to do with the training, harnessing your intention, sending your sound out, and finding that it fills up that space. Wow. And you actually do feel the parameters of that space. You can feel where your chakra is. You can feel where your biofield is by sounding it. And so for me, it was really such a great aid, because I'm not, I couldn't. We're so programmed. Our eyes, they say the eyes are the windows of the soul. I don't believe that at all. I think our eyes are the window of our mind, because when we're young, we're programmed heavily with our eyes. This is blue, this is red, this is a goat, this is a duck. Everything is the eyes, 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 eyes. And when you don't see something, you have to fake it until you make it. But with sound, it just brings it all alive. And I know you know that, because I know you work in that world too.
So can you demonstrate for everybody sending a sound to either a chakra or a part of the body, and we can even have everybody join in, because I've just in a class right now, and actually it's pretty rare, but it happened with two students in my class where they couldn't visualize, because we do sound out loud and then we visualize sending a sound to a part of the body without doing it out loud, and they couldn't come up with a sound in their head. So can you demonstrate sending a sound with focused attention to a part of the body or a chakra?
But we can do that, but we go a step further, because we use sympathetic resonance. Yeah. We use sympathetic resonance, so we always get what we believe is the right sound, because we ask a question, and when you ask the question, you will be answered. That's sympathetic resonance. What we can do that. We can also do a chakra toning together, which we do, but I don't think everyone else is going to want to do that. So I'm not sure, but it's okay. It's clean. It's all clean.
Yeah. I just want to see your focused energy doing it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we basically sound together, not every day, but nearly every day. And we actually, Nestor talked about this woman who excited us in the very beginning by reading our chakra system together. That's because a couple creates their own chakra system. So sometimes that chakra system isn't so developed. One chakra is more developed than the other. So what we do is we sound together, sending it to that chakra system and tuning up basically together. So like it's a couple's tuning up. This is what we do. But I don't know if anyone out there is going to want to do that. Maybe
they can all just turn their heart chakra now, and do a particular.
Okay, no, but the heart chakra is done so often. I would like to actually do something a little bit more.
Okay.
More oomphy, yes.
Okay.
I would say that the most important chakra, the one that's most neglected, is the throat, right? As we talked about the shut-ups and the problems with people expressing themselves and all of that. So, as you know, the fifth chakra is connected to the sacral chakra, the second chakra, in the embryo. They grow together and then they separate. And that's why anything that is not expressed here will eventually be not expressed there. And the second chakra, as you know, is all about your creativity, which we talked about in the beginning of this interview, and your sexuality. And we have a long way to go with our sexuality, that's for sure. And so creativity, sexuality can also be addressed in the throat chakra. In fact, people who have suffered abuse in their second chakra, and let's face it, there's a lot of people that have suffered sexual abuse, are very often people that are victim to not being able to express themselves properly in the throat chakra.
But also to creative shut-ups, because that creativity is also in the second chakra.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, sexuality, creativity. So what people could do, David, if you would like us to do something really, is to really focus on these two chakras. So it's like putting your hand, even if you can, on right under 2 fingers under your belly button, more or less. You'll find your second center, which is your sacral chakra, and of course round the back as well, from the coccyx going out, just a bit higher, actually more
Sacrum.
the sacrum. Yeah, that's why it's called that. And so bringing that awareness to that area, but at the same time, putting your other hand just very gently on your throat, so that you've got these 2 areas covered. You're actually connecting with these 2 areas, right? And then just taking a nice deep breath, of course, and then breathing out, stilling yourself, doing whatever you can to come into that still point, that moment of being with yourself, really touching these areas, connecting with those areas. And we're just going to go first of all to the ooh and feel the sacral chakra. So we take a nice deep breath, and with just one tone, we will tone the ooh. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Ooh. And then a caressing breath, very softly, like a. And now we take a nice deep breath, and now we are going to sound the vowel sound eh. And this time with the eh, we will pay attention and put our focus on our throat. So take a nice deep breath. And then a caressing breath. Now we are going to connect. This is a bit quick, but I realize we don't have that much time. So you can do this in a much at your own pace, of course, anytime. Now we are going to connect with the ooh, and we're going to join it with at the end with the eh. So in one breath. So everybody has a different timing depending on the duration of their out breath. But let's see if we can go ooh and eh at the same. And the intention is just to clear the lines of communication between these 2 centers, very important centers, and see if we can bring some peace and clearer communication for clearer creativity, and also enhancing our sexuality in a more positive and peaceful and loving way. So take a nice deep breath and breathe out, and then breathing in and intention. And one more, breathing in. And a nice caressing breath. Just sending love through your hands to these 2 areas of the body that are so needing this connection and this communication.
And that can be repeated a few times.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. So we're about out of time, but I've got one 3D question, which is maybe not
Yeah.
so 3D. And that is, what is the difference between overtone singing and throat singing?
Okay, well, I will.
Let the cat in.
Because I can do overtone singing.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit, sometimes more than others. And I've done a little bit of throat singing, but it seems like it's still the distance between the tongue and the roof of the mouth. But you tell me, because you're the master here.
Okay, so for me, the type of overtone singing that I do has been called by some Western style overtone singing. And as opposed to throat singing, of course, it is. Can you let him out that one? Yes. Sorry, we have a cat who insists on being let in. So the mundane did put on his tuxedo
Oh,
for
cool.
this session. Okay, so throat singing is very specifically a technique that comes from Central Asia, and of course this is from the word humi in Mongolia, Hormei in Tuva, two Central Asian countries that practice these techniques. And that word humi or Hormei means pharynx, so literally throat singing. However, the Western style singing, the overtones are formed in the mouth cavity with very little backup from the pharyngeal cavity. The bit of overtone singing you demonstrated there, David, is called a two-cavity technique, where the tongue is brought into play and divides the mouth cavity, the buccal cavity, into a front and rear cavity, anterior and posterior cavities. And this structure is very similar to the structure of a Native American flute, the way the valve is built, etc. Throat singing involves generating very high pressure fundamental pitches. And you see the necks bulge out, and they form what's called like a glottal stop or a chest lock, and generate very, very high pressures where the high whistling overtones are very clearly heard, and from a distance, bearing in mind that these people are nomadic tribes that are riding out on the steppes of Central Europe, and they've got galloping horses that they are herding, and they need to be heard at quite long distances. However, I found that this Western style of overtone singing that I employ, it's far more gentle. You don't have to generate huge pressures. Anybody, literally anybody, can learn to do this unless they have a cleft palate or a cleft tongue. Although a cleft tongue might actually be an advantage in this case. And this also allows, instead of very, very potent, high-pitched, intense frequencies, which in my opinion are not ideal for a sound therapy session, simply because the volume's too high, the fundamentals too high, it can be very irritating, because with vocal harmonic singing or overtone singing, the higher you sing, the fewer overtones you get. So it is to every person's advantage who learns overtone singing to ha ha ha. I'm going to put my original sound on. So very high fundamentals means that you hit your ceiling and you only have 4 or 5 or 6 overtones to play with. However, with Western style singing, you can sing as low, well, almost as low or as high as you want. And if you sing quite low, you can sing right up to the 22nd, 23rd, 24th harmonic. without any problem, which gives you a much wider musical range, but also the sound texture. That word that we don't have in English, so we steal it from the French, timbre, yeah, which some people call timber. But I thought timber is what, falls down in the forest when they're logging. But so the sound texture can be far more bamboo flute, far more calming, far more meditative. So when used in a sound journey or sound bath or in a healing session, literally the overtones have a far more calming, relaxing, grounding quality. I can give you a quick demonstration if there's time.
Just quick.
Okay. So Hermé would be something like this. And I don't know if any of that got through,
Oh yeah.
really, because
Oh yeah. That worked.
now if I do the kind of overtone singing that I would do personally in one of our concerts or in a healing session or in a sound journey, I would, number one, drop the fundamental pitch considerably, as I don't need the pressure. And as for sound quality, you can get that.
So are
Which
those harmonics, are those tones coming from the mouth or back in the throat when you do that
it's
technique?
coming from the mouth cavity.
Okay,
It's
okay, cool. Whereas when you do the strong one that you were talking about, the really powerful, the loud one, it's coming from back in the throat.
no, it's starting from a very strained, intense fundamental. That's the back of the throat, the chest lock or the glottal stop.
I see.
The,
I see.
yeah, and if you were to speak like that, yes, then you would speak a little bit like Kermit the Frog, from the
But
Muppets.
it's still the mouth that's really actually doing the resonant
Yeah,
frequency. Yeah.
still, throat singing involves sticking the tongue to the roof of the mouth, but then the overtones have to come round the tongue and out the sides of the mouth. So you'll see that Mongolian or Tuvinian throat singers have very little mouth movement because they have a high fundamental. All the overtones are very close together because, yeah, the shorter the string, the higher you sing, or the higher you sing, the shorter the string.
I love it.
So a Mongolian throat singer will be starting with a very short string on his instrument, and just like Pythagoras divided the string of the monochord to find the overtones, well, he'll only have 5, 6 overtones to play with. But if I am singing almost an octave lower, then I will have at least double the number of overtones that I can play with and amplify to an audible level. So I have a much more versatile instrument.
I love it. And you've got a book on this, you've got videos, all types of stuff, right?
Yeah, I wrote a book. Well, a book. It's a guide. It really is.
Mhm.
It's not a book so much as a guide, and it was translated into 6 languages as well. This was a basic guide on just the techniques of overtone singing. Now, due to what I mentioned earlier, the pandemic leading us to set up the Dome as a studio and record our courses, I now have a very efficient online overtone singing course with many exercises, practical exercises, which I demonstrate. And also, of course, there's the lower throat singing with the Tibetan deep voice singing, or what they call in Tuva Kargira, which is the so they're learning to use the false vocal cords to produce a second fundamental pitch. So therefore, you can produce with this deep voice chanting up to 4 simultaneous sounds. Yeah, 2 fundamentals and 2 overtones.
Nice. Well, we're out of time, but wow, this is excellent. I want to take your class. I really want to take your class. 'Cause
That's
But
good. We can do a swap day. I'll take one of your classes, and you can take one of mine.
Perfect.
we'll come over to
Perfect.
San Francisco and do a master class in your trainings.
Yeah. So, so let's, how about we do this? How about we send a sound of love to everybody on the planet together?
Beautiful.
Okay, to end
That's
here.
a great
Okay.
idea.
Okay.
And money as well.
Nice. No,
Abundance.
sound of love, money, and education for everybody.
That's right. That's it. Mm. And we'll send that wave of love around the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Shanti,
David.
shanti,
It's
shanti.
been a pleasure, and I do hope that all of you at home, have enjoyed and received something that you can practice in your daily lives, or that motivates you to investigate
Yes.
and do something about it.